What ruined dating for you? The inability of other people to simply tell me what they are thinking or how they feel before things get to a point of no return. It's like I have to constantly keep an eye on my partners and watch out for things they want or that are wrong, instead of them simply asking or telling me when it becomes a problem in the first place. It's unnecessarily stressful. Story 2. I started seeing this guy. He was perfect. Had same interests, same hobbies, same music taste. He treated me really well. Cooked for me. Paid for everything. Opened the doors all the time. Did all the things. I met his parents. I met all his friends. Met all of mine. I thought I met my person. Turns out, he lied to me about his last name because he didn't want me to Google him. Turns out, I went to jail for paying to have intimacy with someone younger. I'm still traumatized and I'm officially done with men. Before meeting him, I was about to give up and he really sent me over the edge. I'm so happy I didn't end up staying with him. Yuck. Story 3. The amount of men fixated to corn. I don't mean watching some here and there. I mean, they were so fixated that in their still young age, 25 to 35, couldn't get it up without corn or trying to convince me to do what they saw in corn. The amount of men who would get mad or dodgy when I'd call them my boyfriend after months of dating. Many men actually being married or having relationships and hoping to use me to cheat. One man who mistreated me on the first date. I could go on about what ruined it for me as there's more. I have a great boyfriend now that I'm absolutely in love with and it's going to be 3 years soon. I told myself that if anything happens to him, that was it. I got to truly love and do not wish to start all over again. Story 4. Ghosting. When I went to my first date in a year after a rough breakup, this guy talked to me every day for 2 months, making future plans before we even met. Had 2 dates. They continued to make future plans and only gave positive affirmations. Suddenly disappeared mid-conversation. Reached out to him a few weeks later, asking if he wanted to meet again or if he had a bad time to just tell me. He apologized and said he would be free soon. Never heard from him again. Guy still follows me on socials. He's still single. Just say you're not interested. What the hell? Story 5. Dating apps. I don't find people attractive anymore. Feels like everyone is pretty copy-paste and I can't build any connections. Even if I liked someone and engaged in something, I could be ghosted without info 2 weeks later. I felt like an idiot so many times. I gave chances to every messed up guy, which isn't my type. My type is pretty normal, straight good guy. With the hope of, no one is perfect. Maybe if I get to know him better, he'll have something to offer, even if he lost 2 times his driving license. I was basically forcing myself to date all possible types of people that I wouldn't date in my 20s because I would tell myself, this guy's trash, move on. After so many failures, I'm trying to learn to be alone and accept my solitude. Story 6. Lack of communication, especially when things aren't working out, is definitely at the top. Also, modern dating apps like Tinder and Bumble convincing people that they need to fall head over heels for someone in the first date or move on because the next option is just to swipe away. It's like no one believes in actually taking the time to get to know someone anymore. They either need to feel a spark during the first meetup or date, or they never speak to that person again and move on to the next prospect, only to repeat the process ad nauseum. It's become another form of speed dating at this point. Story 7. I personally feel like a piece of trash to women. Why? Because what happens when they get bored? They drop you like you were nothing and find the next disposable person. Use them for what they got and go on the next. This sort of crap pains me inside. Also, the amount of single mothers out there blaming men for everything. It's not our fault you screwed the wrong guy or gave up with your relationship. Why do women always say there's a lack of genuine men? Maybe you're looking in the wrong places, or maybe that meet head-on enhancers with a diesel truck is not the kind of person you go on a date with. Story 8. Cheaters. Too many people these days cheat. Every girl I've dated has, and they all came back a year or so later, crying and saying I was an amazing boyfriend and they have no idea why they did it and blah blah. I've also been propositioned by far too many married women. I never went through with it, which just opened my eyes even further, especially considering the fact that I'm by no means impressive financially or aesthetically. I just don't see a point. You can do everything right, even get married and buy her a house and raise a kid together and she'll still test her options. Even with incredibly average guys who have very little going for them? Lol. Good luck to everyone who still puts themselves out there. Story 9. Texting. There's so much to human communication other than words. So much we detect and automatically adjust to by being next to a person. Hell, even talking on the phone you can read a lot. No pun intended. From the tone of voice, not just mood, even their health condition and so on. To meet someone and immediately start with a back and forth texting is just plain stressful. Not fun. Not worth it. Thank freaking goodness I have enough of a social life that I get to meet people and see them again and again to potentially form even the vaguest bond before jumping into hellish texting. Otherwise, I'd be a full-on hermit at this point. Story 10. It's so difficult to get excited about anyone. No one seems to want to commit or actually date, and I blame this on people using people for free meals and crap. No, I don't want to hang out at your place. I want to meet in public. You guys also seem to turn everything intimate. My friends say my picker is broken. Maybe it's true. Lol. Seems hopeless, and I can't put my finger on it. Mix in ghosting culture and how no one seems to want to actually get into a committed relationship. I'm guilty of it too, keeping multiple options open because I'm nervous to focus on one person and have it fall again and start all over. I'm on a break. Story 11. Having guy friends suddenly making a hard move on me. I found it hard to trust guys and play the dating game. I barely dated anyone, as my husband was a friend I knew for 5 years before we started dating. The only 2 guys I actually went on a date with were not my choice to do so. One I was set up with, another was in my social club who I kissed when I was very intoxicated. Felt very bad about it, but tried to go on 2 dates with him because I felt bad about it. Both of those guys ended up stalking me for a bit, the latter being the worst, to the point my now husband and his housemates had to threaten him to leave me alone when he admitted openly had been watching me leave my student flat, which I had moved into after leaving him. Story 12. Honestly, having a smartphone has ruined it for me, because now I get anxious when people who I'm dating don't text or call consistently. Half of me is worried I'm overthinking, abandonment wound, anxious attachment style, and another half of me feels it's reasonable to want to talk to your SO every day. I feel like I don't know what is the right path to approaching someone and building emotional intimacy without feeling that I'm being annoying. I am in therapy for 4 hours a week and I still feel so lost. Also, as a 28-year-old woman, I can't help but feel my so-called window of desirability is closing and people won't be interested in marrying me once I turn 30. Story 13. I've been dating a girl for about a year and she practically lived with me. I thought everything was going well, but one day I noticed a strange transaction in my bank statement. An ATM withdrawal for a few $100s. To my shock, it turned out my girlfriend had taken my debit card while I was sleeping and withdrawn the money. I never told her my PIN, so she must have watched me enter it when I was paying for things. I only found out it was her when I filed a police report and they showed me footage of her at the ATM. Needless to say, the relationship unraveled pretty quickly after that, and I soon discovered she'd been lying about almost every aspect of her life. It hit me hard, and I had to take a break from dating after her because it really messed me up, realizing someone could lie so convincingly. Story 14. Not one thing completely. It was a mixture of multiple things. I think my last girlfriend cheating was the largest thing, simply because that made me not trust people. I went on a few dates around 2011 to 2012, and oddly, apart from one, ended up being friends with them, but nothing else at all, so that was a good thing. But that was about 2 to 3 years ago, right after the pandemic. Then earlier this year, I went on a date and it was weird because this woman knew everything about me. Like everything. She knew my mortgage payment and basically my entire history, including where I was born. She wasn't a bad person, but it completely freaked me out. And I realized that dating had really changed since I'd last done it seriously around 12 years ago. I feel like at that time, you could meet someone online and arrange to meet up and it was no big deal. You would meet, have a drink, and decide if you liked one another. Between 2010 and 2012, I probably went on 25 to 30 dates like that and never had a serious relationship out of all that. I ended up meeting my last girlfriend completely randomly at a bar. That doesn't seem to be able to happen anymore. Story 15. No one is being authentic, direct, and honest with their intentions. No one is thoroughly vetting each other for long-term relationships and marriage. This is why we have dating chaos. Situationships, honestly, is the solution. And what are we question that is common in modern dating? If you don't like him or her, tell them. If you don't really want to be friends, don't put him or her or yourself in the friend zone. Also, the constant competition between both genders and pointing fingers of hypocrisy on both sides. Not taking accountability for being a part of the problem and trying to change their own behaviors. Story 16. I am personally not dating. I'm happy with someone. However, my best friend is dating, and I've seen how it has knocked her confidence, trust, etc., and feeling like she's worthy of meeting someone. Now, people may read that like, well, she shouldn't let it all get to her. She needs to work on herself, but it is hard at times when you're met with, well, schmucks. The amount of married men who've approached her, took her on dates to then find out they're married. The amount of men who connect with her, things in common, good vibes between them to just ghost her, to then find out is because she won't put out or send pics. To be left on red or in the lurch with no reason or inkling as to why, I think would make anyone ponder as to whether they've done something or there was something wrong with them maybe, when things seem to be going well. Not that I could see myself on them, but it's put me off even considering it if I was single. Story 17. My ex, an emotionally cruel, manipulative, borderline alcoholic who made me feel so worthless over the short period we were together that I'm now no longer interested in dating. I've got CPTSD from that relationship, and it's been well over a decade since it happened. Therapy helps, but some days I feel like it only happened yesterday. It's taken me a long time to process that what he did to me was SA. It was coercion and pressure, and he never once took my feelings or comfort or safety or boundaries into account. That being said, I tried dating maybe a small handful of times over the last decade and never got past an awkward second date. I find it hard to trust people, especially men. And nowadays, I just don't bother in the guise of not wanting any more drama in my life. It gets lonely sometimes, but I'd rather be content in my single life than be utterly tormented in a crappy, cruel relationship. Story 18. I swear, any woman I'm interested in always has something else going on. The last one was going great. I thought, anyway. Still relatively early on, but was a friend of a friend I'd met a year or so prior and said instantly that she's gorgeous, but had a partner at the time. Anyway, fast forward, we meet up a few times at social gatherings. She's literally perfect. Same personality, same music tastes, similar hobbies, freaking stunning. Then out of the blue, there's this other guy who's been a sort of FWB between relationships for the last 5 years or so. Gets jealous of me, decides he wants her, and now she says she has to give it a chance with him, but I'm amazing, etc. I would say I'm conventionally attractive, tall, work out, good job, etc., but I just can't be messed now. I'm happy being single. It's just easier. Story 19. Flakiness. No time for that. I'm obviously not a priority, so good luck with whoever you meet next. Now, that got me some angry responses. Turning intimacy into some weird power struggle or a way to try and manipulate me because I'm a guy and should want it all the time, right? I'm wanting a relationship because I want a partner. Intimacy is just an added bonus. Start playing head games like that, and I've learned it's better for my mental health being single than living with transactional intimacy. Dating becomes like a job interview about what I can give them. Look, if you're not here to have fun and find an equal partner while we're at it, please be elsewhere and good luck with your search. Story 20. A series of terrible first dates over a decade ago. From people just looking for a free meal to simple rudeness and entitlement, I decided dating wasn't for me and just stopped. I thought I'd get over it and get back to dating, but now I've been single forever. It's been kind of great. Sure, it would have been nice to have a partner to share some of the travel and fun times with, and holidays are rough, but I get to do what I want when I want to. I figure I'm too old and set in my ways now to start dating anyway. Someone would have to be truly exceptional for me to want to change, and quite frankly, I'm not going to attract truly exceptional people. So this is what it is. Story 21. People looking for you to slide into their existing lifestyle rather than go on dates and build up to things. My ex and I didn't date. We hung out once. She wanted to have unprotected intimacy. I declined. Went over to visit her a few times just to hang out. She gave me a long speech about wanting to live together and not be apart, which I fell for. A few months later, we got a place together, and before I knew it, she was a stay-at-home mom to kids she only saw every other weekend, and I was constantly skint, trying to support us both. We didn't go on any proper going-out dates or even go through that period of properly getting to know each other. She just wanted a guy to take up the role of breadwinning man of the house to support her and spoil her kids. I was gullible and desperate enough to put myself into that situation and let it carry on for far too long. Story 22. Using dating apps and websites. It made me much pickier than I would be without them. They give me the illusion of choice and constantly try to send push notifications or emails when you don't look at them for a while so that you come back to the app and keep looking. I couldn't do it. I met my husband at a singles event. If I had met him on a dating app, I would not have matched with him. I wanted a guy who was older than me and less than 6 feet tall because of past relationship trauma. However, my husband is younger than me and 6'2". Glad I stopped using the apps and websites. My husband is amazing and I wouldn't trade him for any of the guys I met online. Story 23. You know, at the time of typing this, the top 2 comments are about how bad people are with communicating and for not being direct enough. However, in my experience, being direct just gives people more and more chances to swipe left in real life. People want someone to match with, but they don't want to foster the patience and confidence required to not only sift through the options presented to them, but realistically accept a partner with flaws as well as benefits. So people date like playing poker, playing fun, immediately beneficial cards and hiding their cards that can make or break the game. But, like any poker player will tell you, the best player knows when to fold them, and they fold a lot. Most people just want their hand to win and win now, so they keep playing BS hands with each other and get mad when they both suck at it. Story 24. Having to repeat the same process over and over and over again to usually end up at the same point. You're too good for me. You deserve better. I don't want to hurt you, or just straight up toxicity. After my actually toxic relationship where he made fun of me to his friends in a multitude of ways, I can tell I just don't want to date anymore. I've changed so much. I used to be the sweetest girlfriend where I would give gifts just because I'm thinking of my man, or I would send cute texts and call all the time. Now I feel broken in relationships and like I've been scorned and can't be happy in relationships. I feel like I'm waiting for the type of love that will never happen to me. Story 25. The older I get, the more I find dating frustrating. My last 2 girlfriends had this weird independent streak where they would shut me out every time they faced any kind of struggle or they having a bad day. They never let me in to support them and be there for them. Like I'm supposed to just watch them be in pain, not do anything. It's not just that. Sometimes I feel like I don't understand the rules of dating or how some people are able to so easily find their soulmate or find that person they're married to for 5+ years. I just seem to struggle keeping a relationship going after the honeymoon phase is over. Story 26. Granted, the age gap was 15 years younger than me, but telling me she didn't date after going on a date with me, that I was the only one she was sleeping with while randomly fooling around when mad at me with a dude she loved and 3 more from the bars, yet accusing me of sleeping with other women and being upset, even though I wasn't sleeping with any other women. Double standards were abundant. And for her age group, early 20s, that seems to be the norm. And the way of dating is influencing other women as well. No dude wants to know his woman or the FWB has been and continues to get their body count higher and higher. But I'm old and have older views and realize that this is just the way girls are going to be. Just want to know why quality over quantity isn't prized anymore. Story 27. My theory, as a 40-year-old single income, no kids, is very half-heartedly considering one day becoming a dink. Dual income, no kids. Adult children, individuals with difficult personalities, or those who haven't worked on their personal growth are overrepresented in the dating pool. They're often the ones ready to dive in and play the numbers game, while many people who evaluate each new partner as an actual person get burned out weeding through these types, because desirable partners are more likely to get discouraged after yet another adult baby. They tend to self-select out more frequently. They're also likely, as responsible adults, to have other commitments going on in their lives with careers, family, or personal endeavors that take up huge chunks of time. If I actually have the mental space and time today, find I'm compatible with someone as a person and get past the initial 3 months of making sure they aren't hiding difficult qualities, at this stage in life, you're more established, so it's equally likely that our lives will probably be incompatible. This could stem from differences of opinions on wanting kids, getting remarried, careers pulling us in different directions, or thorny questions about how to cohabitate and combine resources so both have assets. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button for more videos like this. Story 28. Oh, I agree the apps have made things one-dimensional. You have to blame the cliche rom-coms and romance stories of meeting the one and after enduring a tumultuous, borderline cruel or neglectful situationship, it's suddenly fairy tale love forever. Plus, guys who know they're attractive don't want to give that attention and freedom up completely. It's toxic, toxic, toxic. I'm still single because I'm unrealistically picky. Go for the wrong guys too, and I've got my own issues. A void, you could say. A significant other could not possibly fill it. Wish I knew what to do. Loneliness is tormenting. Story 29. 4 relationships, and in all 4 I was cheated on. The third one really hurt because I felt like she was my soulmate. We were even starting to think of baby names together in case we had kids. One day she told me she had spent the previous night at her ex's house in his bed with him and her wife. I tried not to let it bother me, but I became very jealous and clingy after that, always wondering where she was and what she was doing. Eventually she dumped me and married her childhood friend. The next relationship I had after that, I went into knowing it would fail, and sure enough, it did. Story 30. Girls I've dated or had mutual interest in at my age, 20s, didn't want to continue or start things because they're still young and want to explore. Okay, too many girls I've been with pull this. I don't know what it is about me that attracts them. I've never actually asked a girl out, it just happens naturally where a girl is interested in me. We pursue something and then I'm apparently not good enough for something. I just mind my own business. That's not my concern anymore. I get far more comfort and enjoyment doing what I like on my own. I've cultivated a very solid, safe space for myself. If someone wants to join my world, they'll have to prove they want to be in it. Otherwise, I don't care what you want. I'm not giving it to you. I've given far too much to others who didn't even reciprocate half of that. Story 31. When I was dating online, it was a challenging experience. So many people couldn't maintain a basic conversation. Every time I had a dialogue that lasted more than a week, it felt like briefly escaping a difficult situation, only to be drawn back into it when everything eventually fell apart. The experience is also very different for men and women. Men often receive very few matches or replies, while women frequently deal with an overwhelming number of interactions right away. As a man, I don't envy that side of the fence. Getting too many matches is not a good problem to have. It's often stressful when it really shouldn't be, but it is. Oh, and then there were the more unusual encounters. In my online dating experience, I chatted with 1 woman who I turned down because I was taking a break, 4 who turned me down early in our chats due to things I had clearly stated in my profile, which they evidently hadn't read, at least 8 who couldn't answer anything with more than 3 words, 3 where we were connecting well for a month or 2. 2 of these ended, rightfully so, because of personal growth areas I genuinely needed to address, which I later did. The third just wasn't compatible in the end. 1 who lived too far away and realized she didn't want a slow, long-distance relationship. At least 3 were incredibly erratic. 1 was clearly setting me up to ask for money. 2 were overly spiritual and inclined towards pseudoscience. One where I became super defensive and for the longest time thought she was too hostile. Years later, I reread the chat logs and realized it had been completely mistaken. Two were catfishes. One was initially just looking for friends, but 2 months in, she asked me if I would be interested in dating. We connected strongly for months, but the long distance was too challenging and a few private matters prevented us from meeting at the time. We took a long break, then reconnected as friends and decided to meet up. Long story short, we've now been living together for almost 2 years and we're planning to get engaged as soon as we sort out our finances and plans. Story 32. Let me have a good comment for once. Meeting my would-be wife. I absolutely knew it. I hadn't dated a lot growing up. I was 27 years old and had 6 girlfriends my entire life. We were meant to meet, and we both knew. We both texted our parents and friends about each other. Our first date was mutual friends getting us to the same location, a coffee shop. We all sat at the table together, and one by one they all wandered off and left us two alone. We sat together for a while and then said, we don't want this to end. So we proceeded the rest of the night to go to Walmart, Barnes & Nobles, 2 separate gas stations. Best date I'd ever had. Didn't even kiss that night. Lol. 2 weeks later, she got into nursing school 2 states away. She was originally planning to move in with her brother, but we both knew. Moved in with her parents and I moved in with her brother. Long story short, we married 14 months after we met. I've been married 18 years and have 5 kids. She immediately ruined dating for me because it was done, and I knew it. She did too. I'm done dating forever. I met my other half. Story 33. I'm bisexual, so I could write a book on this. Across the board, most of us are really guarded and it's hard to build any emotional intimacy. Gave up on dating apps for this reason. I find that a lot of men jump way too fast into wanting physical intimacy, and I don't enjoy casual intimacy. So most situations go away after like 2 dates. With women I've dated, there's just a lot of expectations that aren't communicated. At this point, I'm just traveling the world and enjoying my life. Marriage is basically a coin toss anyway. I don't think I was put on this earth to do something that's only got a 50% success rate. If it happens, I'm open to love, but not banking on it to complete me. Story 34. Dating has turned into a checklist. If you don't match the criteria, you're pretty much goosed regardless of what you can bring to the table. There are too many options for both genders. However, this only applies to the top 1%. It's turned into a 3-part interview process. First, you have to match, then if they accept your request to converse, you better sure as hell know how to keep them entertained. Once you pass those, then you can set up a date, which still doesn't guarantee that you'll be successful, even if you think it goes well. They could just unmatch, then go on another date straight after. Online dating has just become an all-you-can-eat buffet for a select few, leaving you hollow and questioning your self-worth. Story 35. I fell deeply in love with someone that didn't want commitment. I hung on for 4 years while he openly dated others as well as me. I tried being open, but found I didn't enjoy it and was just finding people that wanted a relationship, so was hurting them. So I just didn't tell him he was the only one I was seeing. I also didn't tell him how much I cared for him, but maybe he knew by the way I acted. Now he's done and I'm broken. I've never ended a relationship and not felt like I could not go on without them. Now I can't see it all. I think he may be avoidant, so I find myself waiting for him to come back. Hopefully I'm not crazy and he really does, but of course everyone tells me to move on. I just can't. I also can't date anyone else. At least not anyone looking for something serious as I'm not available. Story 36. Myself. I realized I don't want to chase or be chased. If I come to a time where I'm open to settling down and it makes sense to invite someone into my life, or if a relationship develops that transcends my concerns over impermanence, mostly of place, move around a lot, and have large aspirations involving continuous uprooting, great. If not, there's little point in seeking a lasting connection. I'm open to casually dating or to have longtime partners in certain places or that are also my close friends, but I'm not wanting or expecting someone to follow me around, nor am I willing to sacrifice anymore, at least at this stage of my life, for a partner. Story 37. The Herculean effort required to get to a first date. Well, on dating apps, it took roughly a year of nonstop engagement with 5+ apps to get a single date, which, while pleasant, was not worth the time investment. Not even close. If we're talking about the offline dating, it's similar. Not as bad because it doesn't take as much time, but still, too many cold approaches required for a single yes. Not worth. After giving dating my best shot, I honestly don't even understand how the human race still exists. I guess the average guy must have a lot more endurance than I do. Story 38. Women who ghost. Whether it be before a date or several dates in, there's no communication like, I don't like you, or no, found someone else, no, not interested. Nothing. That tied in with me making great money for my age, and that's all they seem to want. It gets demoralizing. Take almost any fun out of dating. That and the God forbidden fooling around. Don't get me wrong, I played that game for the time being in college. Now that I'm done with it, it just seems like the good ones don't text back and the bad ones just want what they can't take from me. Story 39. Backstory. I was single for 10 years before my last relationship. Found out the last guy I was seeing was using me for the money. I told myself, oh, you always were so quick to point out false red flags in previous relationships. Just be patient this time and see if they're real. They were real. When we took some time apart, I gathered his things from my house and he picked them up. The door closed and I felt relieved, like a physical weight off my shoulders. As much as I'd love to find a partner, I don't think I have the ability to find one. Independence is so fixating that it really would take someone really special to break me at this point. Story 40. I'm new to the dating scene after a divorce and I'm losing my trust in people. I've always been a hopeless romantic, optimist, genuine, and honest to a fault. Every time I begin talking to women, things seem like they're going great. We will be into one another, excited to meet, have a lot in common, and then when we set the date, they never show. One disappeared for months just to come back and agree to a date, and a couple others told me that they'd met someone else and chosen to date them exclusively. All of this before ever meeting me in person. The dating scene isn't what it used to be, and I don't understand women in 2024. I'm tired of being a pen pal that fills up emotional meters for women until they find the person that they really want. Story 41. The idea that wanting to see someone or spend time with or talk to someone you like is bad, considered clingy or needy. I realize you aren't always going to be able or want to see the person you're dating, but it's okay to want to. It's okay to see someone and be like, hey, I like this, we should do it again soon, and actually do it soon. I am a woman and I hated feeling like if I wanted to see someone or talk to them, it was frowned upon. And I had to wait until he wanted to talk or he wanted to see me. We don't act that way with friends or family, so why do we have to with dating? Story 42. My last partner losing feelings so suddenly and leaving me feeling completely broken and abandoned for a good few months, while seeming completely unbothered. Makes you question if any of it was real to begin with, you know? Freaking hurt so bad I was completely lost for a while. That said, I am starting to date a new girl. My walls are up and I'm being very cautious, but she's very sweet. They all are in the beginning. I don't ever want to let myself be that vulnerable again. You never really know somebody and they can just decide one day that you mean nothing to them. We will see how this goes. I have a new fear of getting too close to people now, but I do miss intimacy and cute crap like that, so I'm giving it a shot. Story 43. Recently I had a boyfriend. He was cute, nice, and teasing basically any boyfriend, but he would only be like that in private. We were still in school, but he would never ever talk to me. Maybe say hi once in a while, but otherwise he completely ignored me to the point I tried asking him what was wrong and he turned the other way and just walked away. He made me go through my lowest times, but I'm doing way better since I had the courage to break up with him. Don't make bad choices like I did, ladies. Story 44. I look insane and end up in hospitals. I warn people, but I try my best to be my best, especially when I love a person. Basically, while I'm in the hospital, people frame me stuff. I didn't do it because I don't have the chance to defend myself. It hurts my mental and sometimes physical, getting sicker, people trying to attack me. I want a long-term relationship, but it will never happen between my physical and mental health and false reputation. Cruel, cheater, the list goes on. I did nothing. Don't trust people because most of them want to be the victim for sympathy points, so they will prey on the weak. Basically, what ruined it is other people and my declining health. Story 45. I went through a nasty divorce a little over 2 years ago. My now ex-wife cheated on me more than once. I wasn't looking, but 19 months ago I met someone and things were great. There wasn't a single picture of us together where we both weren't smiling. We were going to move in together and I was ring shopping until I got a completely unexpected call at the beginning of summer with her saying, we need to go our separate ways. Turns out she was contacting her ex who was a piece of crap and cheated on her. I'm freaking done with women for good. I'm 48 years old and there's going to enjoy whatever time I have left alone. Story 46. As I aged, I began to realize my value was in protecting, providing, and giving her a baby. Yes, there's everything else, but essentially this is the bigger nut. I didn't mind that and it sort of unlocked many of the mysteries of dating, taking some of the romance and charm with it. I made a decision as an older man. I decided to step away from the career in pursuit of that lifestyle. I chose low stress, peaceful living, and a no-name job. The freedom and independence to live how I wanted to. It's been a nice life. I get crippling loneliness a few times a year, holidays and big gatherings, but that passes. Eventually, I became too old and unsuccessful to date the women I'm attracted to. That stings some. Story 47. Multiple attempts to date again after years of being single. I'm just a body. No one wants to actually connect. The one guy I thought I connected with for the first time let me know the day before he left that he was going to New York City one-on-one with his ex of a few years. He said he was just letting me know because he felt like he had to, but it wasn't a big deal and it wasn't negotiable. Turns out he was hiding from me that they hung out all the time. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt because she was really important to him, but a couple weeks later he told me he wasn't ready to date again. Sure, then tried to just find connections in person. My in-person connection I managed to find for the first time in 5 years stopped talking to me after we spent the night together for the first time and didn't talk to me for months until I got intoxicated and decided to ask me for pictures. I'm done. Story 48. I love almost everyone's outlook on this. Can we figure out where we're all from and whoever's in the same city can have one big get-together? There's 2,000 plus comments on here. That would be so much better to me than trying to link up with someone on a dating site. I haven't tried it because I just can't bring myself to believe I'd really find someone, then I'd wonder how many dates they're still speaking with, and so on. I'm from '89. I just don't see the hype in online dating. So now my focus is grinding away at work and come home to my kitty at night. Nothing wrong with that, but after a few years, you get a little lonely sometimes. Story 49. Getting ghosted, being lied to, catfished, stood up. Be mature and just say, hey, had fun, but I don't think it will work. If you look nothing like your photos, change them. I get being embarrassed about putting on weight, but going out of your way to lie about or hide it does not magically make me like you. It does the opposite. Same thing with having kids. If it says that you don't have kids in your profile and then I learn you do, that is a red flag. If you gotta cancel, then cancel. Don't be an asshat and just not show. Why so many grown adults do not seem to understand these things boggles my mind. Story 50. Requesting my data from Hinge from the past year. No, seriously, that was it. I found out that 1% of my likes turned to matches, so it was around 13,200 likes sent and only 132 matches. That was months ago, so let's say now it's about 15,500 likes and 155 matches. In that, I've only ever had a second date, and I've been intimate with one woman. So we take that 1% and divide 1 over 150, you get 0.006% of women I matched with went anywhere even briefly. If you take that for all likes, it's 0.00006%. So when I'm liking profiles, it's literally lottery odds. Couple that with in-person attempts, the approaches, the mixers, the speed dating, everything, and you divide that by 2. 2 women I've had multiple dates and intimacy with in the past year. It's generously about 0.008% of all women I've encountered worked out for more than a single date. If we think, what are my odds of finding a woman who will actually value and like me to be long-term or even more short-term, we're dealing with actual lottery probability. So yeah, that kind of broke me when I started thinking about it like that. Story 51. Cringeful things a guy said to me about his exes. I've been known to date ethnic women. The only white girl I dated was Italian. I'm against affirmative action policies. This black girl I was dating broke up with me for being a racist. I'm not racist. I just believe in meritocracy. My last ex was Filipino. I don't like their accents or Newfoundland accents. It sounds so freaking stupid. Yeah, he was a white-collar white guy in his early 40s from Calgary, Alberta. I gave him a chance. I don't prejudge people based on occupation and race. I was hoping he was a good person. It was actually funny when not talking about his exes and usually interesting. Nope, he was my worst and last experience of online dating. I'm so glad I met someone at grad school and I'm now engaged. Story 52. Honestly, I'm going to go with my own choices here, none of which are irreversible. I've chosen a career which I'm wildly passionate about and have sacrificed most aspects of normality in order to be available to properly pursue. As a result, I travel for work and I'm away for long stretches of time and also generally can't predict when I'll be available more than a few months, sometimes just days out. Very clear on what kind of relationship that I seek and the type of lady that I wish to partner with. I'm blessed to be able to date the planet, and I'm a decent flirt. The women that I choose haven't chosen the aspect of me, on the whole. The other is how I've treated my body the last few years. I believe you genuinely have to love yourself first to attract and be in harmony with someone truly special. I've not given myself that dedicated love for a bit. Working on changing that. Story 53. Finding the one. Never saw a desire to date anyone else, ever. Lol. Now, all jokes aside, being cheated on by the one person I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with. The best friend. The most trusted person. The one person that knew the real me. That ended any desire to ever date anyone ever again. I just didn't see people or even love the same way anymore. It changed the very concept of what they were for me. Don't get me wrong, I met the best woman after that and we're married, very happy, and have a child, an amazing life together, etc. I'm just saying I never felt like dating after that bad period in my life. And it shattered the rose-tinted glasses of Disney romance I used to wear. It matured me as a person further and I really learned what I wanted and needed in my life. Learn who you really were and reality became different and more real. Hard to explain. Story 54. Loving all the good ones are taken for one, and so many people no longer know how to take their time and truly nurture a relationship. Many forgot how to be social without hiding behind their phones. Their social cues are rusty. I dated pre-social media so I can compare old-fashioned dating versus social media dating. I'm spoiled now. I met people the old way and I prefer that way. Plus, the men I meet want their own private girl. They forget about the filters. Lol. They think intimacy is just like the corn they watch. They forget the difference between real life and internet fantasy. They can't speak face-to-face anymore. Online they can talk, but when it's time to meet, they get nothing. It's a mess out there. It's a studied, verified fact that interpersonal relationships have changed since the iPhone. Depending on your perspective, it can be for better or worse. For me, dating got ruined. Well, if you like these stories, here's more. YouTube thinks you're going to love this. Catch you in that video.